السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. ربنا زدنا علما. اللهم فقهنا في الدين. اللهم إني أسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وأملا متقبلا. آمين يا رب العالمين. So here we are with our session number 16, day number 16 for our intermediate grammar course, in which we are learning Nawasib al-Mudari, and we were covering Fa'u Sababiyya. In Fa'u Sababiyya, the first thing I would like you to know is when you learn Fa'u Sababiyya, you have to learn it as Nawasib al-Mudari. So the first thing that we expect to see after Fa'u Sababiyya should be Fail Mudari, Fail Amr, or Fail Madin. What do you think? If I have taught you that this is your Nawasibul Mudari, so you have to expect to see fail Mudari. And what should be the status of Mudari after it? What has to be the status of Mudari after it should be Mansub in status, right? What is going to make it Mansub in status? It is an hidden after fa, which is going to make it mansub in status. And then, have we ever covered a fa sababiyya as one of the haruf jar? Is it one of the haruf jar? There are only and only 11 haruf jar, okay? Remember that, okay? There are only going to be 11 haruf jar in Quran, and that's it. That is it, okay? There are only 11 haruf jar that you are going to see in Quran, and that is it, okay? Fa'us sababiyya. Fa'us sababiyya is not haruf jar. However, you have learned few Nawasibul Mudari that take help from an to make Mudari Mansub, but they themselves act like harjar and they are harjar, and these include Lamul Talil, Lamul Aqiba, Lamul Jahud, and Hatta. Right? These are the three that are going to take help from an to make Mudari Mansub, but they are going to be acting as themselves. Their action is an action of harfijar, because they are harufijar, okay? They are the opinion of scholars that we are following is we are following the opinion, we are siding with the opinion that lamu talil, lamul aqiba, lamul jahud are harufijar, hatta is harufijar, and after that is hidden, and that an is making mudari mansub. Are you all not able to hear me? Okay. So the next thing that we are going to, so what to expect after fail, what to expect after Faust Sababia then? Everyone, one more time. What to expect after Faust Sababia? There is going to be Anmudmira. There is going to be Anmudmira after Faust Sababia, and after An, you are not going to see An after it, but you are going to expect to see Mudare in Mansub form, right? Everyone is in agreement with this? You all know this? An is always visible. An is always visible after it, but it is the an that makes Mudare Mansub. In that slide, when I started teaching you about fa, waw, aw, they are the three haruf. How have we learned them? What is their main role? How do they mostly act like? Atf. Very good job. So remember, they are going to be atf. Remember that fa, waw, aw are going to be atf. Will you remember this for me? You're going to treat them as harf atf. Okay? This is their identity. This is their main function. Just like lamu tali, lamul aqiba, lamul jahud, hatta are harf jar, fa, waw, aw are harf atf. Okay? These are harufe atifa. Now, this fa'u sababiyya, how is it different from a regular harufe atifa, the normal harufe atifa? You are going to find after it mudare mansub. If you all remember, there is unhidden after it, and it is going to make mudari mansub. And this is the fa. No matter what this fa is, the fa is only going to be labeled as fa sababiyya if you are finding mudari mansub after it. Okay, don't start to label anything as fa sababiyya unless you see mudari mansub after it. Okay, I hope this point is clear to all of you. The next point I need you to remember is When I was teaching you in the last session, I taught you a concept. I started to teach you a concept that this fau sababia is preceded by one of the following. So what to expect after fau sababia is one thing. What to see, what to expect before fau sababia is a second thing. Okay? So fau sababia can be preceded means something before it can be negation. Either it's going to be negation, or you will find one of these six before fau sababiyya. Everyone with me? You will find either command, you will find either forbidding, you will find istifham, a question, at-tamanni, a wish, at-taraji, a hope, and you might find persuasion or incitement before it. Okay? Everyone with me so far? What to expect fau sababiyya? Either it's going to be negation, easy negation, or it's going to be a request. Aslubu talb, right? Asalibu talb are going to be found before your fau sababiyya. If they are not found before that, will you still label your fau sababiyya as fau sababiyya? Will it still be labeled as fau sababiyya? The fa is going to be still labeled as fau sababiyya? Don't label it fau sababiyya. So I'm going to show you an example, and don't take it personally. I'm just using it as an example so that we all learn from this example. So a very beautiful example of hatta here. Lan tanalul birra hatta tunfiqu. So here hatta has an after it, which made tunfiqu. Everyone know that, right? Everyone is aware of that. There was an hiding after hatta, made mudari mansoob tunfiqu. You were expecting una, but noon got dropped because of un hidden after hatta. And masdarul muawwal is jar because of hatta. Jar wal majroor is muta'alliq bil fi'l tanalu. You will never attain righteousness, piety until you spend. Until you spend. And this is going to be labeled as muta'alliq bil fi'l. Very good job, right? Muta'alliq bil fi'l tanalu. Everyone is with me so far? Beautiful example from Quran. The other example, however, look here. Inni uridu an tabu'a bi ismi wa ismika fatakuna min ashabin nar. Okay, so in here I have taught you. You will see before faus sababiyya what to expect before faus sababiyya. Negation is one. Negation is one. What is the second thing? Talb. Is there any talb in here? Do you see any istifham? Is there any istifham? Any request here? Is there any amr? Failul amr. Is there any? Look at the modes that you have been shown on the slide. Is there failul amr? Is there failul amr? Is there failul nahi? Is there is there any ism istifham or harf istifham? Is there any taraji? Taraji, we were still to cover. We were still to cover. You were thinking around the way good. Your thought process is very good. When you picked it as uridu, I wish, you took it as that. But for here, to make it as a mode of talb, I'm going to show you, because we still were in the process of covering. When wish and want is there, you will find something there that is going to be for wish and want, that is going to be specifically there for wish and want, and we are going to cover that in today's session, because we were still not completely done with the topic. In here, what can I just call this fa? Can I just label it as simple atf instead of calling it fa sababiyya? Because there was an that make tabu'a, an tabu'a, it is a mudari mansubi an, in here, harf masdariya, nasiba lil istiqbal, right? And it is mafulun bihi for fail uridu. And then the fa came, which is a consequence, that is going to show you the sequence of the events, and then you will become from the people of the fire. Yes, I taught you that fa has this inbuilt meaning in it. Fa has an inherent meaning of bringing a consequence, or bringing a causative. It has a causative meaning, but for it to be grammatically labeled as fa sababiya, it has to fulfill certain grammatical rules, right? There has to be a certain grammatical rules that have to be fulfilled by this fa to be labeled as fa sababiya. Am I making myself clear? Is this something that is making sense? I have taught you from the very beginning that there will be sometimes you will find it before fail madin, but that fa is, and you will see that this has a meaning as a consequence, and as a result, but that is not going to be labeled as fa sababiya so loosely until it fits the bill, until it meets the requirements. The requirement is, what are the requirements? What are the requirements? There has to be negation or mode of ask before it, talb before it, and there has to be mudare mansoob after it. Okay, there has to be mudare mansoob after, and negation and talb before. Okay, negation and talb before, and mudare mansoob after it. And this is very clearly written down in this slide, if you can see here. Faw sababiya plus mudare mansoob. I did not write in here madi. Did I write? I did not write in here Filul Amr, right? I did not. For a purpose. I added Mudare Mansoob in here because you need to start to think about Faus Sababiya only after you have Mudare Mansoob, right? So then you have it has to be preceded by negation, it has to be preceded by a question, Filul Amr, Filul Nahi, wish, hope, and persuasion. There cannot be a very long distance, but you may find it's going to be probably, faus sababiya is going to be right, you will find it right. Mudar is going to be right after it. Mudare mansoob is going to be right after it. Okay, so, and there may be a distance between between these seven and faus sababiya, but there is no distance between fa sababiya and mudare mansoob. Usually they are pretty close. You are going to see fa followed by mudare mansoob, if that's your question. Okay, but negation, istifham, amr, an-nahi, at-tamanni, at-taraji, al-ard wa tahdid may be at a distance. Okay, because there has to be a full sentence before it, and then it is going to be fa sababiya, as you have seen in the previous examples. La yuqda alayhim fayamutu. The whole sentence came with the negation, and then is fa sababiya, right? Following negation, right? So here you see that this is followed by mudare mansoob preceded by negation, right? Everyone, this point is clear. The next example, وَمَا مِنْ حِسَابِكَ عَلَيْهِمْ مِنْ شَيْءٍ فَتَطْرُدَهُمْ فَتَكُونَ مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ. So, faw sababiya, but I looked for negation before it, and then I called it faw sababiya, right? And anyways, there was no it was easy to figure out because there is no haruf nasba around it. So it is easy to call it faw sababiya because that is the only reason by which my mudari could have been mansoob, and I would just make sure that there is a negation before and it was right before, so it was easy to figure out, right? This one is, there is not it is not confusing. However, when I look at this example, inni uridu an tabu'a bi ismi wa ismika fatakuna min ashabin nar, in here I need to think about it, right? But I'm not going to call this fa sababiya since my requirements are not met, right? The before it is not the mode of persuasion, not the mode of wish or hope or istifham or amr or nahi, the way I have it has to be there. So let's just continue the topic. Let's continue the topic, and we can just see how it's going to be. So negation was pretty simple. You have covered negation for a long time. and now you were covering the aslubu talb. And aslubu talb that you covered in the last session was failul amr can be before faw sababiya, and that is one of the way by which you ask, you seek, um you demand someone something, right? You demand a listener something like aslim, you submit, fatadkhula, fatadkhul al jannah, then you will enter jannah. If you surrender, you are going to enter jannah, right? So whatever came before it became the reason of what happened after it. The next thing was annahi. You wala tamassuha bisu'in, and you all do not touch her with harm. So la is la nahiya because we are seeing mudare majzoom after it, right? فَيَأْخُذَ فَيَأْخُذَكُمْ azabun alim, because if you do so, if you touch it, if you touch the she camel with evil, a painful punishment will seize you all, right? So in here, this is labeled as vaw sababiya. Mudare is mansoob after it, and before it is failun nahi, a demand that is, required of people of Salih alayhi salam to fulfill. Otherwise, they were to be seized by a painful punishment, right? In the next example, فَهَلْ لَنَا مِن شُفَعَاء. So, are there any intercessors for us? So, in here, what type of a sentence we are seeing here after hal? Forget about hal. What type of a sentence you are seeing? Jumla ismiya. Very good job, Musarat. Beautiful job. Give me the label. Lana is going to be labeled as Lana is going to be mutalik bil khabar muqaddam. Beautiful job, Sister Sajida. Now I have Jumla Ismiya and I'm looking for my Mubtada. I have to. So if everyone can come up with a Mubtada in this sentence, that's going to be very helpful. So Shufa in here, Shufa and your Mubtada is now Nasb. What is happening here? What is happening here, my dear students? Can anyone tell me what is happening here? So Rabia is saying that this word is partly flexible. Very good job. Mamnu min as-sarf. That is what you meant, right? Right? Very good job. This word is partly flexible. Can anyone from the advanced students tell me why is this word partly flexible? What made this word partly flexible? Fu'ala'u. But what in fu'ala'u pattern? What is there in the pattern? No, 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 no. No, 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 no. That's not a reason. That's not a reason. Alif. Very good job. It's not the reason. Alif mamduda. Alif mamduda. Very good job. Very well done. This alif in there is alifutanis that is making this word partly flexible. The alif in here, that's why I asked particularly advanced students. No, not because it's a broken plural, not at all. The only two broken plural patterns that you are going to be seeing that are partly flexible that I've taught you are going to be mafa'ilu, right? Those are the broken plural patterns that are going to be partly flexible because of the broken plural pattern. They are super plurals, but there are plurals that are going to be partly flexible because they have in them alifutanis, and alifutanis means the alif mamduda that comes after the three root letters, right? Sheen, Fa, Ain were the root letters, and Alif with Hamza is Alif Mamduda, is called Alif Mamduda, and this word is partly flexible not because it is a broken plural, it is partly flexible because it has Alifu Tanis al Mamduda. Okay, keep that in mind. And but just for the for my intermediate students, if you just know that this is partly flexible, that's not why it's not taking a kasra. That's fair enough. But there is a reason. The reason for advanced, they should know what was the reason behind it. So now you have min before, and min in Jumla Ismiya. Min in Jumla Ismiya, if it is min zaida, there are two conditions. It is going to attach itself to common mubtada, right? And it is only and only going to attach itself to mubtada. Okay? The mubtada has to be common. The only word in Jumla Ismiya that min zaida attaches itself with is mubtada. It only attacks mubtada, and mubtada has to be common. There are two conditions, right? Mubtada and mubtada has to be common. Everyone with me so far? So min shufa'a is your majroor lafzan marfu mahallan. And here there is hal, and there is another condition that min zaida only is going to enter a sentence that is either a negation or istifham, right? Question or negation, right? Or forbidding is also another one, but question and negation everyone should know, right? So now you have this whole sentence and everything, istifham mode, and everything is in there. Now you are seeing fa that is followed by a mudari that could be mansoob or majzoom, right? That could be mansoob or majzoom. But you know that fa is the one that is nawasibul mudare. If I'm looking at fa that is from nawasibul mudare, this is going to be my fa sababiya. Why so? Am I seeing a talb before it? Am I seeing a demand before it? Is there any demand? Hal, right? Are there any intercessors to intercede for us? See, the istifham, hal is istifham, and I have taught you, intermediate students, istifham, the 12, I think, adwatul istifham, when we were learning Suratul Fil, Alam Tara Kaifa Fa'ala Rabbuka bi Ashabil Fil. At that time, I did introduce you to all the question words, and I've taught you that Hamza and Hal are haruf, rest are all isms, and I requested you all to at least know the meaning, learn the meaning, and so that you know what are your istifham, words. So this Hal is making a case here, is now making this fa meet its conditions where there is a tal before, mudare mansoob after. So this is going to be labeled as fa as-sababiyya. Everyone with me so far in understanding that fa as-sababiyya cannot be loosely labeled throughout Quran without these conditions being met, right? The next example, alam takun ardullahi wasiyatun. Alam, was the land of Allah not vast enough, spacious enough for you, fatuhajiru? Then you would have immigrate, to immigrate therein. So does it make sense that we call this fa as fa sababiya, as we are noticing there is a fa followed by mudare, which can be mansoob or majzoom, but mansoob is going to make sense because fa is from nawasibul mudari. There is an hidden after it, and that is making our mudari mansoob, right? So this is again another condition where you are noticing that that there is another istifham before and fa before. I cannot have hamza right before fa, this if fa, right? I cannot. I have to have a full sentence. So there is going to be a distance. The full demand is going to be before, and then I will find my fa coming after it. But fa is going to be right before my mudari mansoob. If it is clear, type 1. So in here, we are just going to say that this is Hamza, this is a question, because we are not going to say that this is a combination of negation and question. No, this is only a question. So we'll just treat it as a question only, okay? In here, you are going to say that this is a question, there's a question, right? So keep that in mind. And another example, hal indakum min ilmin. Is there any knowledge with you all? What type of a sentence again? Give me the type of sentence in here. Jumla ismiya. Give me the parts of Jumla ismiya. So very important to know your negation. So indakum is going to become your mutalik bil khabar. This is your mudaf ilayhi. Your zarf has to do with time and place. It's has to do with place in here. So it is MBK. Now you need to look for your mubtada. And mubtada is going to be, what is going to be mubtada? Min ilmin is your mubtada. And we are going to say that it is majroor lafzan, marfu mahallan, because it has min zaida for emphasis is there. And you notice that min is attacking a mubtada that is common in Jumla Ismiya, and it is only seen in a statement that is either an interrogative sentence or negative sentence. So here again, and there is hal there, which is being asking a question, and then you are finding your faw sababiya, which is making mudare mansoob by taking help from an mudmira, right? Yeah. فَتُخْرِجُوهُ, right? Everyone with me? And mudare is mansoob bihasfin noon. Very good job. Okay. Then comes your another now comes your next mode of aslubu talb. So that was you have seen question, you have seen failul amr, you have seen failul nahi. The next mode that we are covering now is at-taraji, where you are expressing expected, you are the expectant or fearful mode, hopeful mode, where you are hoping for something, right? It is a mode that has to do with hope. So how are we seeing hope being depicted in this ayah, in these two ayat? Are you seeing any tool in here that can be that has anything to do with hope? And you have covered it with me. I have taught you at-tamanni, at-taraji. La'alla, very good job. This was taught to you when we were covering our haruf nasiba in our term 1. It was again taught to you when we were covering our jumla ismiya, that how we can have these haruf nasiba added to jumla ismiya and we can get these different meanings. La'alli, I hope, ablughal asbab, right? In here you see how I might reach the ways. So in here, what is being used to to express hope? La'alla. La'alla is one of the tools by which you can express hope. And then you see here for at-tali'a, at-tali'a. Now I have all the reason to call this fa my fa sababiyya, because first of all it is followed by mudari mansoob, and I'm finding la'alli, which is a mode to express a hope, to express a wish. And this is before there, and this is going to be understood as one of the aslubu talb. And now I can comfortably label it as faw sababiya. The next one is at-tamanni, where I'm expressing a desire. I wish I can do this, I wish I can do that, right? Ya laytani. Remember, if I show you, let me just quickly show you before you let's see here. Oh no, let me just take you to not my drive here. So in here, when you see not this one, let's see this one, my drive. Okay, so in my drive you can see in your jumla ismiya, and I'm just taking you to jumla ismiya so that we can quickly see jumla ismiya with those haruf nasiba. I'm sure it should be somewhere here. Special cases of jumla ismiya. Okay, no, not this one. Okay, no, it's not that. Uh, okay, here. So here, if you can see, there is one slide. See here, later, I wish. And this slide has been shared with you, my dear students, many, many times. So they have a meaning of a fail, and how they what is their rule. Later is I wish, la Allah is I hope, lakinna is I rectify, I amend, I addend, I correct, all these meanings, right? So keep those meanings in mind. And now when you look at your ayat of Quran, now when it's time to apply them to the ayat of Quran, it's going to be very easy. I wish I was with them. فَأَفُوزَ فَوْزًا عَظِيمًا. So in here, you are seeing at-tamanna, right? I wish. It is, later is as if the person is saying, I wish I was with them. Then I would have been successful. I would have attained a great attainment, right? Everyone got it? That how there is going to be waw sababiya, and it is going to be preceded by a wishful mode, a tamanni. And what is the mode that, what is a tool that is used for that? You are seeing la'alla and you are seeing later, right? La'alla, later. La'alla is for at-taraji and later is for at-tamanni, right? And then comes the last one, where the inspirational mode or persuasive mode, at-tahdid wal-ard, if it is gentle urging, when you are asking an authority of higher authority, then you are going to only make a request, right? لولا أخرتني إلى أجل قريب. If only, if only you could have delayed me. Why didn't you give me a brief term? Surely I would have given charity, and I would have been from the Salihin. So in here, this fa is again to be understood as fa sababiyya, because again mudari mansub after it, and there is an urging here, as if you are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you a brief term. So the person is asking that he could have, so he can give more charity, isn't it? It depends on what mode is used. So, right? So if it is laula akhartani, if you would have given me, why not you give me at some time, a small period of time, so that I give charity. So now you see here that how, if the time was given, I would have done charity, right? What happens before it is the result. It's, how you are going to make the connection in here. Sister Rahat, we are not covering that right now, so we are going to stick to Faust Sababiya. For now, there are different, opinions about that. When it comes to Sutul Munafiqun, this ayah, Akun has different opinions, so we are not going to, however, go over that, because we are just going to focus on Faust Sababiya today, because this has been, you may have asked me this question before as well, and may have given you, I'm not sure exactly, but if it was you, but I think I've given an explanation before to one of the students. But today we are just going to focus on Faust Sababiya, okay? Not focus on Akun at this point, okay? So yes, Lola is going to be, it can be used for gentle urging. It can sometimes be for a strong, it can be forceful urging too. Depends on who is talking. So in here, who is talking to who? In لولا أخرتني إلى أجل قريب فأصدق. Who is talking to who? It is the day of judgment, and a slave is talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So it is ard, right? It is going to be al ard. It is a request. It is kind of, it's a gentle persuasion, right? But when you see here, and I just, here in example above, there is no faust sababiyya, but I just wanted to show you how the forceful urging is going to be working with the same tool, laula. So in here you see, um, لولا جاءوا عليه بأربعة شهداء. So in Surah An-Nur, لولا إذ سمعتموه ظن المؤمنون والمؤمنات بأنفسهم خيرا. So why, when you heard it, did not the believing men and believing women think good of one another, right? So this is in here, this is rebuking, right? There is scolding in this laula, right? So when the believers, believing men and women, heard about the rumors about Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, Allah is saying that why didn't they think good? Why didn't they think good of one another? And they said that this is a big lie. This is a very clear lie, right? And why did not they brought four witnesses against it, right? When you have to blame a believing woman, you have, or anyone to be blamed, and you have seen that, you have to bring in four witnesses, right, to prove that blame, right? Otherwise, there is a punishment, right? So in here, this Laula is a strong persuasion, it's a forceful urging that they should have done that, right? They should have thought good of the one another when they think, when they hear rumors of one about one another. So this is like, a very great lesson by extension for all of us, that when we hear rumors about our fellow brothers and sisters, we give them a benefit of doubt and think better of them, right? And think best of them, actually, right? We should have good guman of one another, right? We should give them 1,000 reasons for not to be bad, right? Before just believing any rumor about anyone, right? So I hope this is there is no fa. Why does not this have fa, but does not have to have fa? Every urging does not have to be followed by fa, but I wanted you to learn what is gentle urging, what is forceful urging, where to expect your fa sababia. In here, you don't have that fa that is. I just gave you a disclaimer in here because I knew this was going to be asked, that where is fa in here. So this is just for you to understand what is strong urging versus gentle urging. Okay. Is this clear? It does not have to have fa. Not every urging has to be followed by fa sababiyya. Not every istifham is followed by fa sababiyya. Not every negation is to be followed by fa sababiyya. Not every nahi is going to be followed by fa sababiyya. Not every taraji, tamanni is going to be followed by fa sababiyya. Okay? So keep in mind, if there is, yes, there is going to be, you have to keep in mind this table, but anytime if you have istifham, don't expect to see fa'u sababiyya after it. Failul amr, we don't expect to see fa'u sababiyya after it. Or all these do not have to be followed by fa'u sababiyya, but one of them has to be present before fa'u sababiyya with mudhari mansoob for it to be labeled as fa'u sababiyya. So this is the reason where I will say that this is not fa'u sababiyya. I'm just labeling it fa al-atifa, that is taking one status from one fail to another fail, right? I'm just going to say that this is mansoob bil atf, not bi anmudmira. I hope this is clear to all of you. By this example, everyone is learning that how you are just going to label it as atf. You're not going to label it as something which is having a fa which is hiding an after it. And this is just for every one of you to know. And in here, I just wrote in here, I just wanted to point this one out as well, that fa sababiyya is not harfjar, right? It is not harfjar. Just keep in mind, and by giving you this this practice, just find one, these things after fa. Everyone is learning. Okay, this is not to point out everyone's mistake or anyone's mistake. It is just so that we all learn, right? So in here, tawalla is failul amr, right? Tawalla is failul amr. So because waw, lam, ya are the root letters, and I'm not seeing my ya at the end. So is this fa going to be understood as fa sababiyya? Can I label it as fa sababiyya? What do you say? Because it is failul amr, you are going to just say that this is any other fa, but not fa'u sababiyya, because it is not followed by mudari mansoob, right? So this was your fa'u sababiyya that you needed to learn for your course. And then there are two other tools that you have seen that are going to be there in your that you can find in here, which was a waw al-ma'iyya. You will find a waw after which you will find mudari mansoob. And there are two examples that I was able to find. I was able to find the two examples of waw al-ma'iyya. It is translated as ma. What is the meaning of ma'a? With, right? So this waw can be understood as with or in accompaniment, which means like two actions happening side by side, right? Two actions happening side by side. Waul Maria has the same conditions as Faus Sababia. They both must be preceded by negation or asalibu talb, right? They both must be preceded by negation or asalibu talb. So in here, you are seeing waw that is followed by mudare mansoob. Any harufe nasiba in here, you are seeing in this ayah, in this ayah, haruf nasiba. An tadkhulu. Do you all think that you all will enter Jannah while Allah has not made known who struggled among you all, and He has not yet made known the sabirin, right? So in here, I cannot make this waw atf on tadkhulu. Is there any reason why I'm not making that this is just an atf on tadkhulu? Why this is not simply labeled as waw atf and with waw yalama mansub on tadkhulu? Both are nasb, but contextually does not make sense, right? Can it make sense that do you assume that you will enter Jannah and he knows the Sabirin? Does it make sense? Does it make sense? It does not make sense, right? It does not make sense. It's not matuf ala an tadkhulu, right? It is not matuf on tadkhulu. So this is now there is another reason for this to be mansub in status, right? So this can be mansub because of an that is hiding after waw al-ma'iyya, and the condition is it has to be preceded by, if it is to be labeled as waw al-ma'iyya, there has to be negation or talb. So in here, do you see any negation? Do you see any particle of negation? Where is negation? Give me the particle of negation here. Lamma, very good job. So lamma was present before wow. So this makes a case that this is going to be your wabil ma'ayya with negation preceding it, right? With negation preceding it, and you are also finding your mudari mansub after it, which is mansub not because of wow, but because of hidden an before after wow. Okay. In another example, walau tara is wuqifu ala nari faqalu. And if you see when they will be stopped over fire, then they will say, Ya laytana nuraddu wala nukazziba bi ayati rabbina. If I wish we were returned and we will not belie the ayat of our Rabb. In here, this vow is followed by mudare mansub, nukaziba. Do you see any haruf nasba other than vow that can be hiding an after it? Any reason for nukaziba to be not to be nukazibu? So there is only wow that can be the reason. La never makes mudare mansub. La is, if it was la acting on mudare, it should be what in status? What should be the status of mudare after la if it is an active la that makes acts on mudare? It should be majzoom. It should be nukazib. It should be nukazib. But it is not nukazib, it is nukaziba. So la has no action on it. So what is acting on mudare? It is an that is hiding after waw. Is it preceded by negation or talb? Is there negation or talb before? You see anything? Tamanni. Later is there. There is later there. So that makes a case that this is going to be your waw al-ma'ayya, and after it is hiding, and it is it is which is making mudare mansub, right? Later is there. Very good job. And then there is the last one. For it, when aw is used, when aw is in the meaning of ila or illa, only then it is to be understood as haruf nasiba, and you are not going to see very many examples of this. So keep this example in mind and write it down on your notes somewhere. So in ayah number 128, you are going to see laysa laka min al-amri shay'un aw yatuba alayhim aw yu'azzibahum fa innahum zalimun. So in here you are seeing aw followed by yu'azziba, and this can be understood as aw, which is hiding an after it, and which is responsible for making yu'azzibu, yu'azziba. And here, except or until this is until you can see in here, until he could he could forgive them, or punish them, for indeed they are the wrongdoers. If you find there's only one example which is probably going to make your job easy. I have seen one example. If there are more, bring them on and share with the rest of us as well. So if you find out, you are going to see it is going to be in the meaning of illa or ilah. Ilah means except, ilah means until, right? And in that case, you can say that this is aw, which is from nawasibul mudare, and there is an hiding after it, which is responsible for making mudare mansoob, right? Everyone with me so far? So this was all about your the whole a list of your Nawasibul Mudare. We have, Alhamdulillah, taken some good amount of time on learning them. I hope you have found them beneficial. For those of you who have not been able to complete all the sessions, kindly go over the recordings and try to make sure that you catch up everything. And because it is very, very important, because the test is coming. However, it is going to be first on Asmaul Mosula, then the next test is going to be on Haruf Nawasibul Mudari. There is one that we have not covered in detail, that is Izan. Izan is the one that is not covered yet, and Izan is to be it is not used in Quran as such, so we have skipped it, but the slide is there. So make sure that you go over the slide, and inshallah, I hope you are able to understand that very well as well. I just briefly covered it when I was introducing all of them to you in these slides, if you remember. We have briefly gone over all of them in here, but not in detail. So it denotes future, it makes mudari mansoob, it's a response particle, but follows is a consequence of what was before it. And but it's not used in Quran. So for now, as an intermediate grammar student, we can hold off on that, but rest you should know, and inshallah they will be you will be tested on all of them except izan in detail. If any questions, kindly don't hesitate to bring it to me. I hope you will be well prepared for your upcoming test on Asmaul Mosula, which will be opening up next Saturday, inshallah. And I'm going to I'm going to share with you the playlist and the slides one more time, just so that everyone knows where to prepare from. And inshallah, I wish you all the very best. And inshallah, we'll be continuing up, our intermediate grammar with more topics, inshallah, because in these topics that are coming up, they are requiring a lot of memorization. It's not going to be just going to the class and just learning, okay, this is mudare, this is malum majhul, and this is mansub marfu and majzoom. It is going to be requiring a lot more, because there is going to be a lot of memorization as well. So keep that in mind. Having that in mind, if you prepare, that's going to be helpful. Otherwise, what happens is that the material is so much that it's not going to make sense. It's difficult to then understand, and it becomes difficult when there is a lot piled up, right? When we leave it till the end, it's not something that we can catch up easily. Okay, so I wish you all the very best, and I will see you all. And I may have I may give you a break, but let me get back to you on that, inshallah. Okay, so take care of yourselves. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.